J-Hope has been many things to many people, many times. He has taken on so many genres and taken on different personalities, from J-Hope of BTS, the dance leader, to Hope, to Jack, to a student of street dance. It was all a part of his journey to discover who he is and push himself way outside of his comfort zone. He has excelled in each of that. But this concert wasn't merely a display of his range or skills. This was a fusion of all those personalities, all those struggles and victories in one artist, that is Jung Hosok. It felt like a conclusion of his search and the beginning of his growth. It was his way of saying, I'm each of this, and each of this is me. The concert, I feel, in my opinion, is divided into six parts: the rebellion and chaos. Second is rediscovering his roots, and then a shift to something light and sexy before he gets in touch with his own verses. And then he comes home to J Hope in BTS. And finally, he ends where he began. For his encore, it was all about the future. Let's discuss. Rebellion and Chaos. J Hope opened with Chaos. His first four songs were all violent introspection, like a painful shedding of skin to get to know his core. What if questions what would happen if J Hope's name, fame, and image were stripped away. It sets the tone for a concert that's as much about performance as it is about identity and essence. He tries to answer that what if question with the next track. He explores his duality in Pandora's Box. This is J Hope's origin story. His duality, both the bright hope image and the darker, more complex truths that he holds. And then that exploration cost him as everything burns down in Arson. Arson is about the aftermath of success, the fires he set with fame, and dilemma of what to do once the world's already burning. And then he tries to recover and finds the gray areas of humanity with Stop, that in between of good and evil and right and wrong, and how judgment isn't always black and white. As he settles, he craves for more, and this song reflects that hunger, not for fame but for passion, growth, and authentic expression. Rediscovering his first love, street dance. He leaves that rebellion behind in the next portion and decides to rediscover his roots. In search of his identity, his next four tracks came from Hope on the Street, an album dedicated to street dance. After going through dark times, he settles down for some introspection. On the Street is a collaboration with J. Cole. It's actually a love letter to the fans and the path that led him here, with the man who inspired him to start it all. And then he goes on Unlock and Unlock. This song symbolizes the tension between restraint and liberation. The performance often features theatrical choreography that plays on being trapped versus breaking free. And this is what street dance is all about, the struggle to stay loyal to the essence and organic nature of street dance versus growing, expanding artistically and commercially. And then I Don't Know. This song wrestles with uncertainty, self-doubt, and trying to find answers in a confusing world. In this, he actually dances with a girl. A stark contrast with Lock Unlock, where he actually dances with a guy. And this represents that duality in him, the struggle for certainty and self-doubt, the desire to stay grounded, but also grow. After that, he does I Wonder. This song explores what's possible and what's next. It pairs with the previous track as a transition from uncertainty to openness. It is notable that this is the most stripped down time in the concert. The highlight was the dance routine and interaction with dancers. It also feels like an early 20s J-Hope when he becomes more introspective rather than external in his expressions or search for answers. And then he shifts to his sexy side. Interestingly enough, he used Just Dance to transition to his sexy side, perhaps because it's really pure fun and pure funk. From something heavy to something introspective, he takes a break and lightens up the mood. Then he goes for Sweet Dreams. It is a, well, dreamy, mellow track about his dream girl. It's like a gentle exhale between heavier and more hyped songs. Miguel was there. Next, Mona Lisa. This is an emphasis on the true allure of a woman, that it lies not in external beauty, but in the unique qualities that make someone special. Again, even with his lighter song, he's actually going deeper, consciously taking a different point of view. And then he goes to J Hope, the rapper. With one verse, he takes his first step back home as he goes back to rapping. And one verse is pure bars, where he flexes his lyrical sharpness, which leads to the succeeding songs. In classic hip hop fashion, he follows it with bassline, a diss track at haters, and a tribute to his essence in a raw and almost dirty way. And then, of course, Hang Sang. It's about loyalty and success shared with his crew, something very important in the hip hop community. It's all about rolling with your people and celebrating wins together. And then Airplane. This reflects on J Hope's rise, flying over cities he once only dreamt of. It's aspirational, grounded in gratitude, and full of confidence. And then finally, he comes home to BTS. It's actually interesting that he puts this towards the end of his concert. After all the conflicts, the emotional turmoil, the intellectual flexes, it feels like he's coming back to the place that started his turmoil. Not because of failure, but because of the overwhelming success. It was this success that almost drowned every one of his band members, including him. It is this success that made him want to stop. But in here, it feels like he's settling down, embracing it, recognizing it, and appreciating it. And what does he do? He sings songs he knows to be fan favorites. Airplane Part 2 is a reflection on their tour life with BTS. Mic Drop brought the entire stadium down. It is actually an aggressive flex anthem on their achievements as a group. And then there's Bepsi, or Silver Spoon. This is a socio-political bop disguised as party track. Bepsi calls out generational inequality and hustle culture. And then, of course, there's This Ease. It explores burnout and mental strain. And after that high, he ends the heaviness and BTS reflection with Outro Ego. It is a joyful and all about self-acceptance. Ego celebrates identity and growth. It's one of J-Hope's most uplifting songs. And live, it feels like pure sunshine. Interestingly enough, he actually ended where he began. In the beginning of his solo era, he sings Daydream, which is an exploration of the disconnect between the idol image and his inner world. And then, of course, Chicken Noodle Soup, and the entire stadium actually sang Becky's verse. It brings back the childhood classic and transform it into a bilingual dance exploration, a cultural mashup. And finally, Hope World, the theme of his universe. Hope World is bright, colorful, and confident, a welcome mat to his identity, vision, and worldview. It felt like he came full circle, and in doing so, he managed to put himself together and become whole, with each of what he has become fusing together to create something steady, at peace, and certain. Of course, there's an encore. It is about three things: clarity, future, and his roots, emotionally and musically. He opens it with Equal Sign, which is a message of unity and equality, but I don't think it is really activism, but more an understanding of the world around him. And then future, which looks ahead with hope, curiosity, and courage. It's the emotional setup for his next act, a reminder that growth is constant and the best is yet to come. Neuron goes back to his roots, both musically and emotionally. It's a reflection on his journey, his identity, and what makes him him, raw, poetic, and quietly powerful. J Hope's set list tells a story of emergence, from the collective to the individual, from chaos to clarity, from shadow to light. By going through each of his eras, he's not dividing his identity, he's weaving it together. It's not about before BTS versus after BTS. It's not about the bright J Hope versus Jack. It's this is all me, and I'm finally showing the full picture. And the box. Near the end of the concert, as he returns for the encore, J Hope walks out carrying a small box, a miniature version of the stage set. That's what he said. He doesn't really explain further, but I don't think he had to. The symbolism has been building all night. Throughout the concert's visuals, we repeatedly see him trapped in rooms, behind walls, inside ever shifting boxes. He pushes, escapes, runs, only to find himself back in another box, identical to the previous one. It's a loop, a metaphor for the industry, the spotlight, and the perfection expected from him. On the outside, everything looks polished, but on the inside, it is a cage. Until the very end, when he finally breaks free. By carrying the box during the encore, it's as if he's saying, I'm not stuck in the box anymore. I own it now. I control it. He's no longer confined by expectations, fame, or the need to impress. He's reclaimed his art, his identity, and his stage on his own terms. A visual and sonic concert experience. One of the most brilliant aspects of this concert is how visual storytelling and set design work hand in hand with the music. The stage itself is made of moving boxes, quite literally. At the start, J Hope rises from one like Jack in the Box, the metaphor from his album title. But as the show progresses, the boxes shift, rearrange, and eventually disappear, mirroring his journey from confinement to control. At one point, he's lifted high above the stage, not just physically elevated, but emotionally liberated. The set isn't just a backdrop, it's part of the story. And this isn't just a concert, it's a living, breathing performance art piece where music, movement, light, and stage design are all narrating one cohesive message: freedom from self definition. More than anything, this concert feels like a celebration, not just of J Hope, but of his journey and the people who've walked it with him. It's not about showcasing his greatness or proving anything. It's about inviting the audience into his world, sharing what he's built, and saying, this is for you, with you, and because of you. And that's what sets J Hope apart. That's what sets him apart from all the other great performers. It's not just a masterpiece he's created on stage. It's an entirely different form of art, different type of experience, and there are very few artists who can pull this off. Most likely only the ones who don't just love what they do, but also truly love the people who love what he does just as much. There are artists. I'm a huge fan of music, so I and live performances, so I try to watch as much as I can. And I've watched some of the greatest, from Beyonce to Linkin Park to Muse, and some of them really can take your breath away, especially if you can see and feel the energy that they're putting in their work. There is nothing like it. You just feel so respected, you feel so privileged for actually being able to witness greatness. But I think the one thing that sets J Hope apart from others is that he wasn't really there to show his skill. He wasn't really there to impress. he was there to connect with his audience, to using his music. So it was more a celebration. And of course, he's great. He's actually flawless, super flawless. But it wasn't, his concentration wasn't to impress people, but to actually make a connection with the people that have been supporting him for a long time. And that is why he was able to just take people with him. It's easy for people, for the audience to actually get carried away, to just submit ourselves into his music and to his performances, because it didn't feel like he was displaying, or he was trying to show off his swagger. Nothing of that sort. He was there because we are connected with, through his music. And I don't think there are many artists in the world that can do that. I think, if at all, it would be artists that don't just love their music and love the attention that they get from it, but also love the people who connect with him, and love the people who love his art just as much. And that's why I think it's rare. That experience is rare because an artist like J Hope is rare. So for those of you who are yet to watch the concert, have fun. Make sure that you're present, make sure that you're there with him, and just block out everything else and just party and just celebrate with him. And for everybody who actually went with me to watch the concert, I was happy to have spent those times with you, and I hope to do it again. Um, and yeah, if you have, I would love to hear your thoughts. Would love to know what your favorites moment, what your favorite moments were in the concert. And if you have any comments, for, as always, you can say whatever it is that you want to say, for as long as you say it respectfully. Please follow me on X or Twitter, and also on IG. But most especially, please follow me on Patreon. And if you can, please like the video, subscribe, and hit that notification button so that you don't miss a single video that we upload. Also, it's really helping my channel when you share it, so please do that. Okay, I'll see you on my Patreon. Thank you. Bye.